What's up, everybody? Guess what time it is? It's time for some more NFL picks, predictions. Week 4 already. Like we said last week, thankfully, we get an extra week of football because it is already flying by. And I'm Matt, also known as Beard Laws in the social media world. And over here, who's this guy?
I'm Brandon J. McDermott. You can find me all over social media at Brandon J. McDermott.
And this is Matt Brown here. You can find me at the Ohana Jones.
What's up, fellas? I know you guys enjoyed probably Sunday just as much as I did. And it was some exciting football. I mean, we saw a record break. We witnessed history with Tucker and a game-winning 66-yard field goal.
Look, I think this week is going to be known as one of those that we had some record breakers, some record tires, because don't forget the Jaguars 109-yard return. I won't say kickoff or punt return. It was just a field goal miss return. My goodness. I think this is one of those weeks for the record books that we'll remember for a long time.
Speaking of Jacksonville, though, let's get right into it. They are coming back Thursday night, going to Cincinnati, and they're giving 7.5 points. So Cincinnati is opening as a 7.5 point favorite.
A very boring Thursday night game, right? Gives the world a chance to really see Urban Meyer's Jags in real time. He's really struggling this year, but I expect the Jags to cover, and surprisingly, get this, I think they're going to win. Bengals home crowd really isn't something to be feared, so it's not really much of an advantage. Plus, the Jags have to win sometime, right?
It's funny. I never thought I'd make a comparison between the Jaguars and the Steelers, but bear with me here. TJ Watt ended up not playing this past weekend against Cincy, and the Pittsburgh pass rush just looked more like what Jacksonville's pass rush will look like against the Bengals. That's what I think. Why do I mention this? Well, Joe Burrow wasn't sacked once on Sunday, and he went 14 for 18, as efficient as ever. I see at least a 2-score advantage for Cincy in this one.
I actually like Jacksonville to cover. At some point, they have to win. Maybe we pick them all the time, but thankfully, they don't even have to win. They just have to cover. Thursday night, both on a short week. Maybe Cincinnati came in. They got a good win against a terrible beat-up Pittsburgh team. I like them to cover. I don't think they're going to win, but I like them to cover. If I was going to go over or under on this, I like the under. Washington football team taking on the Atlanta Falcons. The Washington football team is a 1.5 point favorite on the road.
I see this as a toss-up. It's a roll of the dice, a flip of the coin. Washington's defense is good, even though they haven't lived up to that hype this year so far. I think they finally do this week against the declining Matt Ryan. I take Washington in this one.
I just don't see it from Washington's defense. I mean, do I dare say that the Falcons are 500 at the end of week 4? I think I do. Look, Atlanta is 8-2 against the spread against teams with a losing record, so I think I take Atlanta here.
My gut tells me Washington, that division, can't trust it. It's anybody's division. I think they come out here. I'm thinking a big win. I think Washington's going to win double digits. Next, we have the Detroit Lions going to Chicago. Their coach came out and said that between all 3 quarterbacks, it's still an open race. That is not what you want to see going into week 4. With that being said, they're still the favorite. -3 versus the Detroit Lions.
The Lions, much like my beloved Huskers, are finding new, inventive, and interesting ways to lose games. The Bears need to patch up that offensive line, obviously, and give Justin Fields more time to breathe. They gave up 9 sacks last game. I think they finally do this week, and the Lions will lose more than the Bears will win this one, though.
As of right now, I actually think the Lions are better than the Bears. Now, hear me out. Over their first 3 games, the Bears have averaged just 13 points scored per game. The Lions have averaged 22, and it took a record-breaking field goal from the Ravens to beat them. So we don't know who's QBing the Bears. I do like the Lions.
I'm going to steal a line out of Dave's playbook from last week. Short-term memory. A lot of people, when they're picking football, they seem to have short-term memory. The Bears pull out a win somehow. Whoever they start in quarterback is just going to go out because they have to play to keep their job. They're going to play like their job is on the line because it is, and they're going to pull off a win. Bears fans, I don't know how you do it. I really don't. Brandon, I don't know how you do it with Nebraska. We got the Tennessee Titans traveling to New Jersey to take on the New York Jets. Tennessee is a 7.5 point favorite.
I think this is the easiest call of the week, just like last week's Broncos and Jets game. The Jets obviously got shut out on the road against Denver. This week they're at home, but it's not going to matter. I think the Titans win and cover by 10.
Yeah, I think this line's too low. I think what makes any better hesitant for this one, I'll just play devil's advocate here, is that the Titans' strength is running the football. So that doesn't necessarily lead to a lot of scores. However, let's be honest, The Jets are just that bad. Hard to go against the Titans here.
This is going to be our first and maybe only unanimous decision. I think Tennessee blows them out of the water. Any team that plays in New Jersey, I think you always have a pretty safe lock this year to just go against them. Next up, we got the Cleveland Browns traveling to Minnesota, taking on the Vikings. This is pretty much a pick'em game as well. 1.5 point. The Browns are the favorite on the road.
You got to feel good for the Vikings, who are finally able to right the ship, so to speak, early this year with a big win of 2021, their first win. Browns defense was hellacious, if I can say so, last week, netting 9 sacks on athletic rookie quarterback Justin Fields. I see the Browns defense swarming Kirk Cousins just as much. Maybe not 9 sacks, but they're definitely going to get to him. They're going to cause more trouble up north this weekend for the Vikings, and I like the Browns to win.
I can easily see this going either way here. The Vikings are 4-9 against the spread in their last 13 games following a straight up win. I'll lean towards the Bears here, and I'll agree.
I'm going to go with the home team on this one. Home team's getting some points. I think they go back-to-back dubs. They have potential. The defense is starting to play well, and I think they're going to get to Mayfield and company. Hopefully they get a win. How about Indianapolis traveling to Miami, and the Dolphins are a 1.5 point favorite, again without their starting quarterback, playing with their backup.
Jacoby Brissett. He's not a world beater by any means, but man, is he fun to watch. He's a throwback, and he's a winner. Sure, they didn't win last week, but he as an individual is a winner. They obviously did have a tough loss last weekend against the Raiders, but I see them recovering nicely here and covering easily at home.
First off, I don't know how Carson Wentz played on 2 sprained ankles. I know even less on how the Colts will operate as a competitive team with a quarterback in pain. And then their best offensive lineman, Quentin Nelson, dealing with a high ankle sprain of his own. So this is the best opportunity for the Dolphins to get a win, an actual win, without Tua Tagovailoa. I think they do it by at least a field goal.
Jacoby Brissett, I think, is going to come into this game, chip on his shoulder. With that being said, I like the Colts here. Wentz is going to have a little bit more recovery time. I listened to the Pat McAfee show this morning. He's all about him. I like the Colts here with a couple little points, 1.5. I think they're going to win this game. All right, Carolina traveling to Dallas. Dallas is opening up at a 4-point favorite at home.
Panthers are 3-0, but just lost their best playmaker in Christian McCaffrey to injury. Panthers are 6-0 in their last 6 as road underdogs, but without much punch and McCaffrey gone, I don't like their fighter's chance here. Give me the Cowboys and that home crowd to win and to cover.
I think we're still on the agreeing train here, Brandon. Look, all eyes will be on Christian McCaffrey this week and his hamstring injury. I think Dallas's passing attack will be too much in this one. I like them.
I'm going the opposite. 4 points in Dallas. Dallas, atrocious defense, all right? Carolina, they're still pretty good. Darnold's having a fantastic year. I like Carolina to cover here in Dallas. This next game, New York Giants going to New Orleans. 7.5 point favorite. New Orleans is at home.
It's not a super large spread, but it's a big spread in NFL terms. The Saints obviously have been up and down with impressive wins in week 1 and this last week in week 3 after that rotten egg they laid in week 2. The first game back home for the Saints since Hurricane Ida, and I don't think you can understate that this week. It's the Giants. The Saints win and cover.
What are you thinking, Matt? Let me guess. I agree with you, Brandon, and here's why.
How about I disagree with you, Brandon? Let's see here. The viral moment from the Saints this week was Coach Sean Payton giving Jameis Winston that cold look after that risky pass. He's still learning to rein in his erratic gunslinger. So Winston, once a 4,000-yard passer, has yet to pass for even 150 yards in a single game this season. I think New Orleans just keeps trying to run the ball. They'll run the clock. I'm not saying the Giants will win this game. No, not even close. But I do think they can cover here. I think I like the G-Men this week.
As mentioned, I'm sticking with it. Saints, they can contain Daniel Jones, who is not only their quarterback, but apparently their best running back, even though they have a fantastic running back. I think the Saints too much with all that emotion, like Brandon said. I like them here. Let's talk about Kansas City Chiefs going down to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. The Kansas City Chiefs are a 6.5 point favorite on the road.
This isn't just the Broncos fan speaking in me here. Chiefs are 1-2 on this young season, and they're in the bottom half of the division. Sure, it's a young year. And they're a big favorite here by odds makers on the road, and I'd be willing to bet that most people's money is going to be with the Chiefs this week, but not me. Kansas City's 0-4 in their last 4 games as a favorite. Eagles win.
Well, I can see people going for the Eagles, right? Because the Chiefs are down, but also I can see everybody going for the Chiefs here because, look, they can bounce back. 0-4 against the spread in their last 4 games as the favorite. Patrick Mahomes and the offense seemed off balance down the stretch. I still like KC here and their explosiveness alone. I think this is a statement game for them.
I'm going to stick by what I said in week 1. You never trust the NFC East, and I'm going to stick with it right here. Kansas City, I think, like you said, a little bit of a statement game. I think they're going to come out firing on all cylinders. This is a wild spread right here. We have the Houston Texans going into Buffalo, 17-point underdog the Texans are. Bills 17 points.
At first, I couldn't believe this line when I first saw it. Then I remembered how depleted the Texans are. Josh Allen's finally starting to look like his 2020 version of himself that we've all come to know. I hate going against a line this big, but there's just no way Texans keep this competitive. I think the Bills win by 20.
The naturally skeptical bettors will say that this is an impossible spread to cover, right? Let me just say the Bills are 7-1-1 against the spread after a straight up win of over 14 points. I will go with the ever enthusiastic Bills Mafia, who probably think this game will end at 35-0.
I mean, if I was part of that Bills Mafia, I'd be jumping through tables, just ecstatic. They lost to a healthy Steelers team. I like the Bills here. I think they're going to put it to Houston. If you're a Houston fan, I'd like to say better luck next year, but you're going to need a couple of years. So let's jump into some 4 o'clock action. We have Arizona Cardinals going to the Los Angeles Rams, and the Rams are a 6-point favorite.
The Rams are looking like the best team in the league right now after a huge win over the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This game, however, is going to be a back and forth nail biter, at least the way I see it. I see high scoring, and I see the Rams winning on a late field goal, but not covering.
I agree that this is game of the week all over it. I think that the Rams' performance against Tampa Bay alone, though, is enough to sway me on this one. Cardinals have shown chinks in their armor, letting the Jaguars keep up until they were gifted that pick 6. I don't think Matthew Stafford makes those mistakes, and I like the Rams to stay decisively hot.
I'm going to go with the Cardinals here. They have some great athletes on their team, and let's keep in mind Stafford, he's still the quarterback. Something about me just says, hey, short-term memory, as Dave said, everybody is riding that Rams coattail, instantly just going with them and the points. I like the Cardinals here. I think they're going to cover with the points. Seattle Seahawks traveling to the San Francisco 49ers. Niners are opening up as a 2.5-point favorite. This has the making to be another NFC classic.
Big rivalry game. Tough loss last week against the Packers for the Niners here, but Seattle's also solid against the spread, going 13-5-1 over their last 19. I see Seattle bouncing back this week on the road, and I see them winning.
I had to do a double take when I saw the records in this matchup, because who would have thought that the Seahawks and Russell Wilson would have had this slow of a start, right? That being said, I still think that Seattle is still more explosive and more capable of a bounce back game than the Niners. I like the Seahawks here.
I like the Niners here. Jimmy G, not necessarily playing for his life, but he's playing not only for maybe a contract, maybe to stay in San Francisco. He doesn't want to go back East Coast. I think they can easily beat them by a field goal at home. We got the Baltimore Ravens coming off a wild finish. I mean, there's been some crazy finishes in the NFL, but how often does it end with an NFL record? Traveling up into the mountains, taking on Brandon's hot Denver Broncos, and this is a -1 Denver favorite.
Well, I like the spread. I'm glad that the folks are kind of keeping their eye on the Broncos, not trusting them too much. They are 3-0 against teams that haven't won a game yet. I get it. This is their first big test, but it is at home. Teddy Bridgewater is quietly having a very strong season with a 75% completion rate. The Ravens needed some help last week to win that game against the lowly Lions. I do like Denver here at home by a touchdown.
I actually think the Ravens can take out the Broncos in decisive fashion in this one. Look, they're 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 games as an underdog. I do realize that the Broncos defense is pretty strong. Don't necessarily know how Lamar Jackson will do it, but I just believe the Ravens are stronger overall.
I do think Baltimore is a better team that they've shown in the first couple of weeks. I think this is going to be a great battle, and they're getting a point. So I like the Ravens on the road. We have Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Lambeau to take on the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay opens as a 7-point favorite at home.
The Packers are finally figuring things out and making it work in Green Bay. The Steelers are with an aging, declining Ben Roethlisberger. I see the Packers winning big here at home. I'll take them.
I'll agree with you, Brandon, and here's why. I think you put it nicely, actually. This past Sunday, Big Ben looked as old as the clock tower that he's named after. The Packers are 5-2 against the spread in their last 7 overall. I think I like the Pack all the way here.
You would like to think that the Steelers are to come into it a little bit more rested after pretty much giving up after the first quarter. Not actually giving up, but it sure looked like it. I agree with you. I think that's our third unanimous decision here. Green Bay, I think they beat them pretty good in Lambeau, which is a tough place to play. And we have Tampa Bay, New England. This is probably the most talked about game. Maybe it might not be the best of games, but everybody wants to see that Brady, Belichick handshake. Tampa Bay is coming in at a 6.5-point favorite.
Think of this storyline. The Bucs had a tough game last week. So did the Pats. They both lost. And now both teams are looking for a rebound. Too bad they're looking for a rebound against old flames. Tom Brady taking on his old team, the game's best coach, facing his all-time best player. The Bucs are big favorites here, and I like them to win, but I think this is going to be a much closer game than folks give it credit for. I am taking the Bucs to take this one, but not to cover.
I don't think I liked how Mac Jones looked against the defense he faced this past Sunday. The Buccaneers defense is going to need a bounce back. The Buccaneers and Tom Brady are especially looking forward to this one because they will look at it as, we need this bounce back. I just don't see how the Pats can pull this one off. I'll take the Buccaneers.
I'm going to go with the Buccaneers only because Tom Brady is going to have that team dialed in. He is not going to come into New England potentially for the last time. I know he says he can play till 50, but you never know what's going to happen. This could be the last time Tom Brady will ever step foot as a player in New England. Forget the handshake. I like Tampa Bay and Tom Brady all day. And then we got the Monday night game. We have the Las Vegas Raiders going to the Los Angeles Chargers. And the Chargers are a 3.5-point favorite.
Well, as a Broncos fan, I must say, I cannot stand that we're calling this the Las Vegas and Los Angeles game. Just it doesn't sit right with me. But to me, this might very well be the game of the week. I know eyes are elsewhere, but this is a big rivalry. It's on Monday night. The Chargers just beat the Chiefs on the road at Arrowhead. The Raiders are looking to keep a hold of the top of the AFC West, and we're going to see who the real contender is here. I do like the Chargers and Justin Herbert, who just had a fabulous game against the Chiefs, to win here and to cover.
I think this could go either way, but I'm going to go with the Magic. I just don't have the numbers here because I've just been seeing magic from the Vegas Raiders. The Chargers could easily dominate, but Vegas is 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 versus AFC West rivals, and that sways me toward the Raiders naturally. Also, I just see something that's 2 overtime wins in just dramatic fashion. I don't know what it is.
Like the Raiders here as well. Yes, they're on the road. I think everybody's instantly gravitated to the Chargers because of the big win last week, which also can let for the big letdown. The Raiders have a little bit more veteran leadership on their team, and I think they can come in here not only win, they are a 3.5-point favorite. I like that extra half a point. I like the Raiders in here. And another segment that we do on here is called the Lock of the Week. Some people from Vegas Odds go ahead and pick their Lock of the Week. Maybe it's the money line, maybe it's a spread, maybe it's the over/under, and Matt Brown has the Locks of the Week.
Let's just go right through them here. Tom McNeil, 2-1, and he's gonna take the Buccaneers with the 6.5 over the Patriots. I'll go right through. Carl Taylor, 1-1. He's taking the 49ers with the 3 over the Seahawks. I don't know about that one. Ryan Henzel doing the best so far. Brian is 3-0 so far. Pay attention to this one, right? Because he's 3-0. Bengals 7.5 over the Jaguars. Yeah, I like it because, well, it's the Jaguars. Our very own Beard Laws, Matt McLear. You're taking Titans with the 7.5 over the Jets. Well, it's just the Jets. Let's just be honest here. Andy Adkins 2-1. The 49ers money line versus the Seahawks. So, Matt, I mean, I know you're 2-1, but I think you have a good shot at being 3-1.
I like it. Obviously, it's the Lock of the Week. I just think it's that game that you look at and you just can't go wrong with that one. If my addition was correct, that puts the Vegas Odds staff at 10-4-1. That screams money. 10-4-1. Just remember that for the Locks of the Week.
That's why you're the experts.
Yeah, that's why we're coming in here not only to help you. Speaking of experts, can't thank you guys enough. This has been fun. We spend a lot of time on our couches watching these games just for you. It's clearly not for us because we thoroughly enjoy it. It's so we can come in here every single week and give you the best predictions that the week has to offer. So there you go. Can't thank you dudes. Brandon and Matt. Tell them again where they can find you.
Brandon J. McDermott all over social media.
At the Johanna Jones, my gamer tag, all over social media as well.
I am Beard Laws everywhere. We can't thank you guys enough. Have a great rest of your week. Let us know in the comments how you do. We'll be back right here next week for week number 5. Take care, everybody.